Welcome back to the deep dive. So, in previous sessions, we've kind of mapped out the AI landscape, looked at tools like Claude, ChatGPT, figuring out what might work best for you.
That's right. And we also touched on how jobs are changing, the skills needed to thrive alongside AI.
Exactly, we laid some groundwork. But choosing the tool, well, that's really just the beginning, isn't it?
It really is.
Today, we want to dive deeper. We're going past the which one and into the how. How do you actually work with these tools effectively? How do you build a real collaboration?
Yeah, think about it like buying a really fancy camera. Just having it doesn't make you a great photographer, right?
Yeah.
You've got to learn the settings, play with it, develop an eye for a shot. It's pretty similar with AI, actually.
And that really leads us to this idea we want to explore today, becoming an AI whisperer.
Ooh, I like that term.
Yeah, it's not just about, writing a good prompt here and there. It feels like something more. It's about genuinely thinking with the AI.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
understanding its strengths, its weaknesses too, and knowing how to steer it, how to integrate it into your own thought process.
So the goal today isn't just about using AI to do things faster, though that can happen. It's about shifting that relationship, moving from AI as just a utility to AI as a teammate.
A collaborator. Okay, let's dig in.
So this evolution from tool to teammate, what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it's a pretty fundamental shift, I think. Initially, AI was often seen as like an automation tool, good for boring stuff, data entry, maybe scheduling.
Right, taking tasks off your plate.
Exactly. But we're moving really fast into a space where it can be a genuine thought partner.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. So imagine a writer working with, say, Claude. They're not just asking it to write this paragraph. They might be exploring different tones for a character or brainstorming arguments for an opinion piece.
Ah, so it's more of a dialogue.
Precisely, a back and forth. What if we tried this? How about that angle? It actually enriches the creative process itself.
Okay, that makes sense for writing. What about something more technical like coding?
Yeah, great example. Look at something like GitHub Copilot. Coders aren't just using it to autocomplete code snippets.
No.
No, they're engaging with it. It might suggest more elegant solutions, maybe point out edge cases they hadn't considered. It's almost like having a really, really knowledgeable pair programmer sitting next to you.
Huh, okay. And outside of creative or tech fields,
Yeah.
say for an analyst.
Absolutely. Analysts are using tools, maybe ChatGPT, to tackle huge data sets,
Hmm.
asking it not just for summaries, but to find hidden patterns or suggest entirely new lines of inquiry based on the data.
So it's prompting exploration, not just giving answers.
Exactly. And that's the bigger picture, isn't it? The synergy, this collaboration. It doesn't just speed things up. It genuinely opens up new creative avenues, new ways of solving problems that maybe we wouldn't have thought of on our own.
It's almost like having this partner with a totally different kind of intelligence. It sees things differently.
Different perspectives.
I heard a quote that really stuck with me on this. AI is your infinite intern, co-writer, devil's advocate, and sounding board if you treat it that way.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that really hits the nail on the head. The if you treat it that way part is key. It puts the onus on us, on how we engage.
It really does.
Oh,
Okay, let's make this even more concrete. Let's walk through a scenario. Say you, the listener, want to start a new podcast.
okay.
Instead of just sitting down and outlining it yourself, you could start a conversation with ChatGPT. You might kick it off with something like, okay, I want to do a podcast on AI collaboration. Give me 3 really different angles or structures we could explore.
Right. And the AI might come back with, say, one angle focusing on industry case studies, another on the psychology of the human AI team, and maybe a third that's a practical how-to guide.
Exactly. And then the collaboration starts. You don't just take one. You push back, okay, flesh out that case study idea, or tell me the potential downsides of the psychology angle. You could even ask it to argue against its own suggestions.
Ah, playing devil's advocate with the devil's advocate.
Kind of, yeah. And it becomes this dynamic idea generation process. It's so much more than just asking for a finished outline.
This whole conversation, though, it brings up a really interesting point. As AI gets better at these cognitive tasks, what's left for us? What human skills become even more valuable?
That's such a critical question. And I think the answer lies in those things that are uniquely human, right?
Yeah.
Our judgment, our taste, our ability to grasp subtle context, our emotional intelligence.
Yeah. AI can churn out masses of content, data, options, but deciding what's actually good, what resonates, what matters, That's us. That's the human element.
which loops right back to this AI whisperer concept. It's
Hmm.
maybe less about being a tech genius
Right.
and more about having those human skills to guide the AI effectively.
So AI whispering, it's like the art of communicating your intent really clearly and creatively to the AI.
Yeah, exactly. It's about framing things well. Precision, but also imagination in how you ask.
And we can't stress this enough. The quality of that communication, the prompt itself, it's absolutely crucial.
Oh, totally. Bad prompts, vague prompts, you're just going to get garbage or at least pretty mediocre results.
When you give it good context, when you're specific, when you define the job you want it to do, that's when you unlock its power, sometimes in really surprising ways.
So, okay, for everyone listening who wants to get better at this,
Yeah.
what are some practical prompting techniques they can try? Like right now.
Well, one really fundamental thing is iterative prompting. Don't expect the first try to be perfect.
Right.
Treat it like a draft.
Exactly. Look at the AI's first response, see what's good, what's missing, what went wrong, and then tweak your prompt, refine it. It's a conversation, remember. Each turn builds on the last.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Another really powerful one is giving the AI a role, a persona.
Tell me more.
So instead of just saying, summarize this article, you might say, act as an expert journalist, summarizing the key points of this article for a busy executive.
Okay. So you're giving it context about the output you want, the audience. Precisely. And maybe the most powerful, especially for creative tasks, is feeding it examples
Examples of what?
of your own work. Or work in the style you want. If you want AI to draft an email in your specific professional tone, show it 3 emails you wrote previously.
Oh, that's clever. So it learns your style, your voice.
Exactly. It picks up on your phrasing, your vocabulary, the nuances. It's not just getting the topic right, it's getting the feel right.
Okay, here's something for you listening to try then. Find a piece of your own, writing an email, a report, anything. Or maybe a brief from an old project.
Mm-hmm.
Now go to an AI. Prompt it to create something similar, but this time, actually give it your original text as a style reference. Compare that output to what you get with just a generic prompt about the topic.
Yeah, do that experiment. You'll likely see a big difference. That specific context usually leads to a much, much better result.
Okay, so we're talking about moving from just using AI now and then to really collaborating with it. How does this actually start to change our daily routines? How do we build what we're calling an AI-first workflow?
Right. It's about being strategic, thinking consciously about where AI fits best into how you already work.
So not just throwing AI at everything.
No, not necessarily. For example, a really common pattern is using AI for the initial draft. Let it get the basic structure and points down for, say, a report or a presentation.
Then the human comes in.
Exactly. Then you come in to edit, refine, add the critical thinking, the nuance, the unique perspective that only you have. You focus on the high value stuff.
Okay, I can see that. What about something like research?
Oh, huge potential there. AI is amazing at sifting through massive amounts of information, summarizing articles, finding patterns in data.
Stuff that takes humans ages.
Right.
Right.
So let the AI do that heavy lifting. It frees you up to then interpret those findings, connect the dots, draw the deeper conclusions. Again, focusing your expertise where it matters most.
And brainstorming, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. In those early fuzzy stages of an idea, AI can be a fantastic sounding board. It can throw out loads of possibilities, challenge your assumptions, maybe spark connections you wouldn't have seen.
And the human role then is structure, storytelling.
Structure, storytelling, curation, deciding which threads are worth pulling on. You provide the direction and the narrative coherence.
Are we seeing this actually happen in different industries yet?
Oh, definitely. Think about marketing. An AI might generate 50 tagline options.
Wow, 50.
Yeah, but it's the human marketer who understands the brand, the audience, and picks the 3 that actually work, then refines them into a real campaign story.
Okay. Or education.
Sure. An AI could create practice quizzes tailored to different learning levels or explain a concept in 5 different ways. But the teacher, the educator, they're the ones designing the overall learning journey, setting the goals, fostering that critical discussion in the classroom.
Right, the human connection. What about for, say, freelancers, people working for themselves?
That's a great one, too. AI could draft a solid initial project proposal outlining the services, maybe
Yeah.
suggesting some pricing tiers based on common factors.
Okay.
But then the freelancer takes that, personalizes it massively, researches the specific client's needs, builds that relationship. The AI handles the boilerplate, the human handles the connection and customization.
So weaving AI in like this,
Yeah.
It's not just about saving time, is it?
Not at all. I mean, it can save time, definitely, but it can also be really stimulating, intellectually stimulating. It pushes you to think more clearly about your own unique contribution. What's the part only I can do?
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so here's a pro tip maybe. Don't just ask AI for the answer.
Right.
Try asking it to think with you. Frame your prompts like you're starting a collaborative session. Let's brainstorm ideas for X. What are the potential flaws in this approach? Help me think through the implications of Y.
Yeah, invite it into the process. That shift in framing can make a huge difference. And look, this trend, this move towards deeper collaboration, it's actually starting to shape the job market too.
How so? New roles emerging.
Exactly. We're seeing titles pop up that didn't really exist a couple of years ago. Things like AI content designer.
Okay, what's that?
Someone who's skilled specifically in using various AI tools to generate content effectively, strategically, for different platforms and purposes.
Interesting. What else?
Prompt strategist, or sometimes prompt engineer, though strategist feels broader. Basically, someone who becomes an expert in crafting those really effective prompts to get specific, high-quality results from different AIs.
Like a specialist in talking to the machines.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's creative AI director,
Ooh, sounds cool.
right? Someone who can see the potential of multiple AI tools, maybe image generation, text, music, and orchestrate them together for bigger creative projects.
Managing the AI creative team.
In a way, and also AI workflow engineer. These are people focused on the practical side. How do we actually build these AI tools into our company's existing processes smoothly and efficiently?
What strikes me about those roles
Yeah.
doesn't sound like they all require, a deep computer science background.
That's a really key point. Many of these roles emphasize communication, creativity, strategic thinking, project management, more than hardcore coding. It's about knowing how to leverage the AI, how to guide it, how to integrate it.
Not necessarily how to build it from the ground up.
Exactly. And as we get more and more specialized AI tools, the skill of knowing how to combine them, how to make them work together effectively, that ability to orchestrate across different platforms, it's becoming incredibly valuable.
So looking out, say, 5 years, AI is going to be everywhere, right? That seems like a given.
Seems very likely, yeah.
But the advantage, the real edge, won't just be using it. It'll be in how deeply and thoughtfully you work with it.
I think that's spot on. Let me put it this way. In the near future, yeah, pretty much everyone will use AI in some capacity. But the people who truly master working with it, collaborating deeply, they're the ones who are going to lead. They'll be driving the innovation.
Okay, so that brings us to our challenge for you this week.
All right, let's hear it.
Pick something you normally do entirely on your own. Maybe drafting a tricky email, maybe outlining a presentation, sketching out a blog post idea, whatever it is. This time, try using an AI tool to create the very, very first draft, just the initial pass, and then just observe. Notice how it changes your process. Does it save time? Does it spark different ideas? How does it change how you think about the task and the final outcome?
Yeah, just run that experiment. Be curious about it. And please share what you find. We'd love to hear your stories about collaborating with AI, what you tried, what worked, what didn't, any surprises.
Absolutely. Your experiences could really help shape a future deep dive. Let us know.
And speaking of future deep dives, next time we're going to tackle something really interesting: how to build your own personalized AI stack.
Ooh, okay. What's that?
It's about figuring out the specific combination of AI tools, plus the habits and maybe some automations, that really suits your individual way of thinking and working. How to tailor it all to become a really effective AI whisperer in your own right.
Sounds fascinating. Okay. Looking forward to that one. Until then, everyone, keep experimenting, keep exploring, and keep thinking with AI.